Hi, and good morning. This is Common Sense America, and I'm Eden Hill. Anybody there? You know what? Knock, knock. This isn't a joke. This morning, Thursday, February the 23rd, I decided to talk about a very important issue that's facing your families, our kitchen table, our backyards, our children and their education, the livelihood of the next generation. There's no music today, no bubbliness, but just straight facts, and here's what we know. A couple weeks ago, when I was hosting some of my high school students here at Common Sense America, a story was told to me later and after the fact, not necessarily in coordination with the story that was told, but it was revealing to what is happening right here in North Carolina. North Carolina is known for being an advocate for our military and our veterans. North Carolina is known for recreation and tourism and the beaches. North Carolina is also known for the lack of leadership at the helm in Raleigh. North Carolina is also known for a lot of the old boys clubs that like to continue to infiltrate and indoctrinate what's next for our counties, our local government, our state government. Onslow County is also known, and Eastern North Carolina and Carteret County are also known for being somewhat red. But are they really? I know a lot of the state is blue and purplish and kind of bruised looking. So I'm going to tell you a story today. Here's what we know. You're going to hear from a concerned citizen like myself, Tyrus Kemp. He's the founder of the North Carolina Spectator. He and his wife are based in Onslow County. They're very involved in a lot of different conservative groups. They're involved in mentoring and working with young adults. They're involved in helping those in our nation's backyard with whatever type of issue that's happening. Tyrus reached out to me after he had seen a series of my podcasts here at Common Sense America focused on common sense education, focused on common sense awareness, focused on what's ahead for our nation and the young minds of our nation. Many of you know I've advocated for years, not just having run more recently for State House, but I've advocated to fight human trafficking, sex abuse, child abuse, and all the abuses in between, because they're happening more than I think we realize. So knock, knock. Hey, parents, grandparents, mentors, aunts, uncles, friends, and neighbors. This is all affecting you. You may not want to realize it or believe it, but it is. Here's what we know. We have a young boy in Onslow County who was a victim of assault. He was the bathroom monitor at one of your elementary schools in Onslow County. A kid ran into the bathroom while this young boy was being the bathroom monitor, doing his job. This young boy became a victim very quickly. Another student runs in and assaults him physically. The kid that was the bathroom monitor was in absolute shock. He did not push the child off of him because he was in shock that his private parts had been touched repeatedly. The student that assaulted this young child then ran off laughing, thinking it was a joke. Here's what we know. This happened back on January 20th. Here's what we know. The parents and the student went and told the teacher, went and talked to the principal, started emailing school board members. Oh, and by the way, Onslow County School Board members, I see you. I bet your moms, your dads, your grandparents, your aunts, and your uncles, this affects you too. Here's what we know. We know that this young boy who was assaulted, his abuser has been suspended 9 times in this elementary school. Do you see a problem here? Here's what we know. The school board is split and divided. There is pressure on the school board. But here's what we know. Was a notification sent out to the parents when this happened? An assault happened. It is something you do not push under the carpet. You know what the principal said? My hands are tied. How are your hands tied when this student continues to cause discourse and violate other young pupils? How are your hands tied? I have a couple observations and thoughts because when I look around and see what is happening in our nation's school systems, I see a lot of diversity, equity, and inclusion issues happening here. Could it be that? Perhaps. Could be the woke ideology of the school systems. And then it comes down to a point that you no longer fight for those who have been abused. They lose their rights, but those who were assaulting others have rights, but those who've been hurt do not anymore. I also see a question mark of where's the parental rights here? Because I tell you what, these parents of this child who's a victim, they have been screaming. They have been talking to people. They have been looking to the community. They have been reaching out. They've been emailing. They have had their doors slammed on them. They have been told their hands are tied, that they can't do anything. And people continue to turn their backs on them. What kind of a community is this? Here's what we know. They have not received the help that they should have. And I have posted on the show and on the link for everyone to check it out. Moms for America, the Parental Guide writes. If you haven't done so, go and download it. Also, another resource for each and every one of you out there. Go to the cottage meetings hosted by Julene Jackson. She is with Moms for America. She helps the parent, the mentor, the student. Also, for all of you educators who may be tuning into this, those local elected officials who may be sitting there wondering, this girl Eden Hill, she doesn't know what she's talking about. You know, who is she? It's just a little podcast that she airs every day. Whatever. You better pull your big boy and big girl pants up, because you will be held accountable. Whether it's here on this precious green earth or wherever the Lord seeks to take you, you will be held accountable. And I'm just doing my job to bring what I know and the truth. And the truth will set this family free. The truth will be revealed. The light will reveal all the darkness that's happening. And I applaud these parents. I applaud Tyrus for bringing the truth to the light. We can't not talk about it and then it's just not there. We have to talk about these issues. Child abuse is huge. Assault, bullying, and we can't let it go to the wayside because of a woke indoctrination and cult-like aspect that is being infiltrated into our school systems, which has been happening for a long time. Or is it a money trail? Or is a school trying to hide something or cover something up? Here's also what I know. Tyrus is going to also bring to the show another victim of assault in the same school. And this time it's an educator, not just a student. We got a problem. What are we going to do about it? For all you school board members who may decide not to watch this, oh, she's just full of hot air, she's just blowing steam. Well, you may need to educate yourself. For those who don't have a voice and who want to speak out on the school board, but you're being muzzled by money or being muzzled by some type of political machine that's strong-arming you, look no further. I've put in the comment column section, Sarasota County, Florida blueprint. I had on this show Bridget Ziegler. She ran for Sarasota County School Board in Florida. And as you all know out there, Governor Ron DeSantis has been at the very forefront to take out the school boards, to take out the vile indoctrination of CRT and the diversity, equity, and inclusion, but also to reveal a lot of the stuff that's been going on for years. And this is a perfect example. In the link, you will see Sarasota County, Bridget Ziegler's blueprint. I encourage each and every one of you, whether you are a concerned citizen, a local official, a state official, a parent, a concerned citizen who is a neighbor of what's going on, a counselor, we all are being affected by this. Whether we engage, speak out in the public square, or whether we decide, you know what, I need to be quiet on this. I don't want to lose my livelihood of my job. I don't want to lose the livelihood of, what could happen to my family if I speak out and help come alongside of this family. Well, you know what? At the end of the day, God's going to hold you accountable, whether you believe in God or not. And if someone is being a victim of abuse in the school system, if you know of a teacher who's being the victim of an abuse in the school system, you got a problem and you need to stand up for them. What I have found at the very, very forefront of this issue is that victims are afraid to talk. Victims are afraid to talk. They're afraid that their family is going to get killed. They're afraid their family is going to get hurt. They're afraid for their friends and anybody who is in their circles. They are afraid because they have become a victim of a perpetrator. Here's what we know. The issues in this school in Onslow County are not being addressed. Here's what we know. We have concerned parents, and parents are finding out through the grapevine, through Facebook, through social media. So, Onslow County, can you do a little bit better with your communication? In fact, can you raise the bar on your communication? You have a lot of work that needs to be done. To the parents who are the victims, you are fighters and you will have victory. But I challenge each and every one of you, whether you're sitting quietly watching this saying, you know what, I do need to speak up. Well, now's your time to speak up. You know what, I'm in a church group or I'm in a church with this family. I do need to stand next to them and fight with them. There's power in numbers, and there's power when we come together in prayer, where two or more are gathered. Don't turn your backs on those. This community has a lot to offer, but it's certainly very much lacking. You will hear Tyrus and I talk a lot about the issues. I also cited Tyrus's parental rights issue that is happening in the great state of North Carolina. So, this segment is about 30 minutes long. And then tomorrow, the mother of the child who was a victim of abuse will be joining us tomorrow. You will hear her story. You will hear about what she has gone through. You will hear everything that this precious child is going through and trying to understand what happened and what he's supposed to do with these feelings. You will also hear the fact that both she and her husband are seeking parental rights when it comes to the public school system. Thank you for joining Common Sense America this morning. We will end with this segment, and then tomorrow morning we will be back right here. But for now, if you are convicted to engage, please do so. Private message me, get involved. We will be doing a call to action. And if after you've heard this segment or heard the mother's story, you still want to get involved, private message me here. You can message me on Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, and here on YouTube. Thank you for joining Common Sense America this morning. Morning, this is Common Sense America. I'm Eden Hill, and I tell you what, you guys, our nation is under attack. Our nation is under attack as it comes to the point of parental rights, as it comes to the point of what are we doing for our kids in our nation's backyard. My goodness, you guys, knock on the door. Are you guys there? We have major issues, especially here in the state of North Carolina. And, you know, I am wanting to talk about education, and I have been talking about education, common sense education, hashtag common sense education. And I tell you what, we have so much happening at our kitchen tables, so much happening in our school systems that the parents are completely unaware of. And you have heard from Young Voices, you've heard from Turning Point USA, you have heard from many school students in and around our nation talking about how they are uncovering the transgender pieces, how they're uncovering the Bible and the Constitution being thrown out of local schools. Well, here this morning, we are talking to Tyrus Kemp. He is a local Onslow County one conservative who was a part of the GOP, but also the founder of the North Carolina Spectator. He called me a couple of weeks ago and said, we have some major issues here in Onslow and Carteret County. When I ran for state house, I saw the issues in Carteret County. I did not realize how bad they were in Onslow County schools. So I am bringing over to the show, as you sit here, Tyrus Kemp. He is going to be talking and breaking down the issues of what is happening in our nation's backyard, but more importantly, in our school systems here in Onslow County, North Carolina. Tyrus, thank you so much for joining Common Sense America. I'm heated up about this, and when you called me, I've been heated up ever since. I'm on fire. I'm furious with the crap that's happening in our nation's backyard, and I'm fed up with the fact that our local, state, and federal officials are turning a blind eye to a lot of the issues that are happening. So I want to break it down. Talk to me first about the things that you have uncovered in Onslow County, and then we'll break it down from there. What are some of the top stories that you have reported on in the North Carolina Spectator, but then also some of the things that are really triggering red flags at the local level?
Well, first of all, thank you, Eden, for having me on. I just want to say that I got into this because I started the North Carolina Spectator with the idea of I want local people in North Carolina to have a news source that's not social media, that's not just the outcry on social media and kind of the echo chamber that's created from there. And so I started digging into local issues. And one of those things was the school system. And it all started because I kept seeing parents get up in school board meetings and community members,
Right.
and they would bring these books that just seemed like, oh, this is awful. Like, why isn't anyone doing anything about it? But before I went on the attack, I want to look at what the policy is, because if these people aren't following the policy and these parents aren't following policy with this, well, that's something that we can kind of rally around and get people to actually follow policy. But when I looked into it, the policy 3210, parental objection to educational materials, really showed that the school board was not interested in giving parents rights in saying what their kids can read or be taught in school. And one of the examples of, I'm not going to go through the whole policy, it's on my blog, but one of the things that stands out the most, it says, professional educators know best, that line. And that's just such a gut-wrenching line to me. That really got me fired up. And I started digging in even more and seeing how they use ambiguous language. They use all sorts of, they threw in the First Amendment, which I'm a big believer of the First Amendment. However, they threw in to pretty much say that it's the kids' First Amendment rights to have any book they want in the library. And that's just false. They're using I emailed the school board about this, and they said, oh, well, they sent me a Supreme Court case.
Right.
Well, if you read that case, is highly specific to that situation. It should not be applied broadly. And so fast forward from there, I write this piece, I put it out, I go and I speak at the school board meeting about it and get a lot of feedback. All this is going on. People start to know that, oh, Tyrus is paying attention to this stuff. And I started getting calls. I got a call from some parents who did not know how to operate the school system. They didn't know how to go about getting what they wanted done. And I asked them, what's the story? What's going on? Well, their child was sexually assaulted in one of the schools. And when they brought this to the attention of the principal and to the school pretty much gave the kid, who's been suspended many times before, a slap on the wrist. And it did very little in terms of protecting their child from this kid even more. And so these parents reached out to me and said, what do we do? What can we do? Do you know anything? I said, I don't know anything off the top of my head other than maybe Title IX. Has anyone talked to you about Title IX? And the answer was no. So they had meetings with the principal, and Title IX was never brought up. However, if you look at not only the school board policy, but also national federal policy, a mandatory reporter, they're required by law to inform them about this. And so I started digging in to this, helping these parents, hey, let's go about the system in the right way, and let's file this. And there's been nothing but pushback these parents have received from the school system, from everything going on. And then I also get a call from a teacher, and the teacher is being assaulted in class almost every day.
Preface by saying this is all happening in Onslow County.
Correct. It is Onslow County Schools.
It is Onslow County Schools, and this is two different schools.
This is actually the same school.
Same school.
This one is the same school.
So so I want you to finish your story, but something stinks.
It does. It does.
Go ahead.
And so there's a teacher being assaulted at school. She calls me up, and pretty much I have to look into every stinking rule there is on the board policy website and try to find, hey, this is how you go about filing for this. And this is what you need to do to get yourself in a safe situation where you are safe, where you don't come to school every day as a teacher and get death threats. Right. And so we started going about that process. Well, there was already, before she even called me, instances where the principal, the administration, had changed her reports from assault, where she filed assault. It said in the language, the verbiage was assault. They changed it to aggressive behavior, specifically so they wouldn't have to do anything about this child. And the worst part about this, there's other teachers that this is happening to. and at the same school by the same student. And the teachers there are scared to do anything. They don't know, they don't want to speak out because they're afraid of losing their livelihood. And so this is going on. The principal has told this teacher and other teachers that, hey, stop filing reports about this. This is your job. Pretty much shut up in color, right? That was her response, and has created an abusive environment. Well, a grievance was filed, and it was filed to the principal and to the HR director the very first time. The response received from that was, your situation does not apply. An appeal was filed according to it, and I suggested, hey, make sure you put in the state law that requires a long-term suspension for a student who assaults a teacher. And that was included in there. Again, same individual responded with the same response. And so it's a bully tactic is what it is. They know that they have a taxpayer-funded attorney on their side.
Okay.
And a teacher that they control and that they can pressure and they can threaten with different stuff. They know that they're not going to have the funds to fight back legally. And so this is all taken in perspective of this fall, before I started the NC Spectator. This fall, there was a stabbing in one of the schools.
Right. Yes. I remember seeing that. Yes.
Yeah. And there was, an outcry by the community of like, we need to do something about school safety. What has been done? Absolutely nothing. And you fast forward to a couple months later, gummies were found in school.
Right.
And these kids, 5 kids, had to go to the hospital because of gummies that they consumed during school.
Right.
Well, it was a week later before anyone found out about this other than the parents of those kids. And there wasn't even an email to other parents to allow them to let them know, hey, your kids may have been exposed to this. Be careful of anything they have brought home. Make sure you talk to them about this. So that didn't happen. And then you fast forward another couple weeks, and there was a bullet found in a kid's backpack. Now, all goes on, and the administration has done everything possible to keep all this quiet from parents, from the community, from everyone.
Who's holding the muzzle over the administration's, literally over their mouths? Why? Who is holding them to keep them from communicating, at least to the parents? I mean, you have assaults on children, assaults on teachers, you have the drugs, you have the guns, you have the knives, you have the stabbing, and there's no but to that. Where's the money? Who's following the money trail? It always leads back to money. What attorney is holding these administrators and the muzzle over their face? And where's the school board in all of this?
Well, I'll tell you where the school board is. You have an individual, Lewis Rogers, who actually spoke out at the last school board meeting and said, hey, something's not right. I've asked for this. We had a security meeting that was closed doors, but all I can say to the community is I'm not happy about it. I don't think the proper things are being done. He asked for a contract of a school security or a security firm that was going to do their inspection and evaluation, which they said would take up to 6 months. And it wasn't approved by the school board. It was just done by the executive staff. The superintendent approved it. And we're talking $60-some thousand, right? This school board member had requested this contract multiple times before and did not receive it. And we're talking weeks in the making. And then he gets to the school board meeting, he has public comment. And so he publicly comments and says, I would like this. This is something I would like. And the moment he starts speaking about this, the moment he starts to bring up security issues, the school board chair shuts him down and pretty much threatens them to say, you're going to be investigated because you're talking about things that are confidential. You're not, saying everything that we actually talked about. And so, and there was a big scene that everyone blew up. Tensions were high. But at the very end of this, the point I'm trying to make is that it's interesting that as someone who is actually trying to do their job, that they were appointed to do, they got into that seat and they're trying to do their job and keep the community safe, to keep the children safe, to keep teachers safe. And it gets blown up and says, no, you cannot talk about this. And so there is something very fishy going on. If you look into this security firm, and I would have to pull up the exact name of it, they are not credentialed. They have a veteran-owned business credential. That's the only certificate that's on their website, like a couple times. And the fact that a superintendent can just sign off on $64,000 without board approval is asinine. And so
I was just going to say to you, I smell a lot of rats, and we need some feral cats. Bottom line, this is. I mean, where is Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson? Isn't he head of Department of Education for the state of North Carolina?
He is, and I don't think anyone's reached out to him. Because at the end of the day, this is just getting started. These stones are just getting turned over. I mean, Mr. Lewis Rogers and a handful of, or several other school board members who may want to actually do something about this just got on. So it's not like this has been, in the making. I will also say that there's a board, chair who likes to threaten, who is very aggressive, and then pulls the card of, we aren't upholding our oath to pretty much follow policy. That's he keeps repeating this stuff, and it's like a broken record. And at the end of the day, the role of the school board is to oversee these people, these doctorate level individuals, these executives, right? Paid thousands of dollars to run the school system. And to keep bringing up that there's this school board chair is posted on social media and other stuff. I'm not revealing a private conversation, but that, it's not his job to micromanage. And my response to that is, as a manager, as someone who has led people in the military, micromanagement is a very real tool. It's not a tool that you want to use for everything, right? You don't want to use a hammer for everything. But when there's a nail, you should probably use a hammer. And school safety is one of those nails, right? It's something you want to use a hammer on. And so I also want to draw it again. It's just very odd that this same chairperson, right, won overwhelmingly with 6,000 more votes than everyone else on school board. And there's rumors amongst teachers that the superintendent was pushing for him to win and had pretty much said, vote for him and no one else, because they were scared of the other people on the ballot. And so, and that's in the primaries, because here it's Republicans, the name Republican wins. And so at the end of the day, it's fishy. And then you have, with the gummy situation I mentioned earlier, there was JD News actually came out with this, broke the news on this, that situation, they got a public information request from the emails, and pretty much showed that the chairman lied to either the news, the public, or he lied to his board. And the reason was he had told through email to the rest of the board members, this is the first I'm hearing about these things, a week, pretty much the Thursday after the Monday that it happened. Well, he told the news that he believed, or he knew Monday when it happened. And so again, very weird stuff.
Yeah. What I was going to say is, it seems like there's a lot that's trying to be covered up. And to get to the root of what is happening in Onslow County Schools has clearly been going on for a long time. But now, as you said, the stones are starting to be unturned, and things are starting to be revealed. The light is starting to shine on the dark things that have been happening. But my question, I want to ask you this. I want to go back to those two assault scenarios that you brought up. What is happening with that child? What is happening with that educator? Are they able to get help? And I can't imagine the dollars that are being spent out of their own personal pockets for healing. Now, there's something that you had mentioned to me, and I want to bring this to the audience. You had mentioned about the educator, that there was police reports, that there were ER reports. Talk to me a little bit about that. And I want to talk about, is the educator able to get any private help since the people that she is serving will not help her?
So it looks like she will. It looks like she will. Thankfully, there's an organization that has stepped up and said, "Hey, we want to help you on this."
Okay.
I don't want to get you in details about that because I'm not sure how that's going to impact anything. But I will say that when you have to go to that very last resort, that you're asking for help from anyone. I mean, I'm just a community member who writes a blog that's for North Carolina. And it was just the fact that I had dug in the policies and I spoke at a school board meeting that I got a phone call saying, "Hey, maybe you can help us with this." And so, and that was for the parents. And then same with this staff member. And my heart breaks for this situation because the thing is someone may look at either situation and say, well, maybe this teacher should just find another job, or well, maybe this student, the parents need to take him to private school, and that's assuming they can, right? My argument to that is, so you're just going to keep putting fuel on the fire so it keeps happening, because at the end of the day, it's going to keep happening. If a kid has been sexually assaulted and that no other parents were they didn't let any other parents know that he was sexually assaulted. So this could be happening to many other kids, and the kids just don't care with their parents. Maybe they don't have that relationship, or maybe that they internalize that stress and that abuse in a different way. And so this is something that I think that parents really need to wake up to here in Onslow, is that the school system does not have the best intentions for students, for parents, and for teachers. And I just want to put this out there. I am so thankful for the very good principals, for the very good teachers, and there's probably, one or two individuals that work with the executive staff who are good people that just have, our silence maybe. I don't know. But so I don't want to paint everyone in this broad brush, but there are people on the inside that do not have the best intentions and are only worried about themselves and their friends and their buddies.
Yeah. Well, when I think about the student that assaulted his peer in that scenario, I immediately thought of two things. The first thing that you said, how many other times has this happened to other students? Because they're covering up whatever the situation is. They're not notifying the parents. There's no communications between the school and the parents when bad things happen, and they are happening. And then my other thought was the student that assaulted, knowing the specifics of what happened, you have to wonder if he is being abused because of his actions and what is happening. But the thing is, it's similar to, going to a doctor. They're going to give you medication. They're going to give you a Band-Aid, but are you going to get to the very root of the issue? And the lack of communication in the community itself, the school system, them protecting whomever, whatever, is not only, it's detrimental to what is happening to the next generation, what is happening to these next kids that are coming in, what is happening in the next school year. Why are they not communicating? Why are they not being on the team of helping these parents and advocate for these parents? So that's where I want to go next. parental rights around this country really came to the forefront during COVID, unfortunately. And if you look to Loudoun County, if you look to Fairfax County, Virginia, you saw parents rising up because they were now exposed to what the school systems were infiltrating and the doctrine of CRT and everything else in between. And the parental rights piece has really come to the forefront thanks to those parents who are fighting for their kids. You see it in Sarasota County, Florida. You see it in Loudoun County, Virginia. You see it all across America. But what we need to do, so, Tyrus, you need to do this as much as I need to. We need to talk about the parental rights even at the greater level. Even this is local, and all politics are local. But North Carolina and these counties here by the beach, we have a lot of military families. We have a lot of military children. We have a lot of veteran children. And what we need to be doing is educating these parents on what they can do to protect their kids, whether it is pulling them out, homeschooling them. A lot of them can't even afford it.
Yeah.
Is it putting them in private schools? That may be another option. They can't afford it. They're only able to do so much. And so the choice is, okay, my kid has to go to public school, but my kid's going to come home and tell me that they were just sexually assaulted, and now they can't even function. So we've got to really, this is what I want to do here at Common Sense America. And I know we're going to do other episodes, but I really want to be able to give tools to the parents in Eastern North Carolina, because clearly our state government is not doing very much to give them the tools to fight for what they need to know. And the school administrators are not going to tell them, unfortunately. They're not going to be giving them tools to fight this, because they probably want to keep their jobs. They probably want to protect that paycheck. They want to protect that livelihood. They want to protect their family. But at the end of the day, we need to give parents the tools. And one thing I wanted to mention was Moms for America, national organization, really came to the forefront. They've been around for a long time, but during CRT and COVID and the pandemic, they have been at the very forefront, along with Moms for Liberty. Moms for America put out a parental guide that basically you can go online, download it. It's a PDF. You can send the link around. And what it does is it provides parents tools, layman's terms tools, that can help parents navigate the school system, navigate the indoctrination, navigate what is happening in and around their school system and in their state. So I want to put that out there, Moms for America. I will be posting that link and their PDF on this live broadcast. But what other recommendations do you have? You are going as a concerned citizen to these school board meetings. You are interfacing with this educator. You're interfacing with these parents to help them, to put them in front of the right people who will help them through the healing process. What other things do you recommend as a concerned citizen that we, the American people, we in our nation's backyard, in our kitchen tables discussions, can help parents and help these people and be preventative and not be so reactive, but have a more proactive approach?
I would say first, for local individuals, Onslow Protect Our Students is a great organization that is looking to expand, looking to grow, possibly even become something bigger like North Carolina Protect Our Students. And so I'm going to be working with them to ensure that we have a hub, a place to gather parents locally who want to do something. And so the other thing I want to encourage parents and community members to do is pay attention to school board meetings. Go to a school board meeting. I understand the reason I'm there is not because I just want to be there. It's because I know parents. I mentor high school age kids, middle school and high school age kids, and have good relationships with their parents. And I know their parents are way too busy. They work, they have multiple kids, they have this and that going on. They can't make it. Plus, the school board meetings have all sorts of things in the way. So, but I've been told to my face and through email from a school board member, I don't care what you say because you were not a parent. And And I came back with a logical, what I felt was a logical argument explaining, hey, I actually represent a couple parents who want their voices to be heard, but they're too busy to be here. And she said, until they tell me that, I don't care. And so this, you know,
and that's it right there. Tyrus, that's right there. That school board member just said exactly what she thinks. She doesn't care.
Right.
And it's not just because of you representing, she doesn't care.
Yeah, and I also just want to say, so the parent's voice has massive, weight to it. And when you start to put this pressure, not even political, because political pressure doesn't really work sometimes because they're in office for 4 years. But when you put pressure of the parents on, and you continually show up and talk about the things and use policy. You use, hey, we went about this the right way, and we have the evidence right here. If parents can do that, they can actually persuade some of the people on school boards that are on the fence about do we kind of attack this, or do we lay off and just let it pass, right? We cannot let this stuff pass, because as we saw in Loudoun County, Virginia, a girl was raped in the bathroom, and then the father got the police call on him because he called the school board out. And then there was a terrorist. FBI put out, pretty much saying parents are terrorists memo, and that's how it goes up. So we need to be proactive, head this stuff off, be looking at policies, be looking at this stuff, and so I would just say be involved. Even if your kids, maybe you do homeschool, maybe you do send your kid to a private Christian school or Jewish school or Muslim school. It doesn't matter. Get involved in local schools, because your kids will be affected no matter what, because that's what the next generation is bringing up.
Yeah, I want to end on this final note. What you just said, being involved. I had 2 Turning Point high school students on from Craven County a couple weeks ago, and they are homeschooled. They went over to one of the high schools for their PSATs, and they uncovered something that a lot of people weren't talking about, and that was a lot of literature from the library being thrown out, the Bible, John F. Kennedy's speeches, Martin Luther King's speeches, the Constitution, all things that this country is founded on, and those high school students uncovered it. But my point,
just to be clear, right? That's not from a group of parents, the majority of parents saying so. That's just from educators, right? These professional educators.
Yes, exactly. And so what I want to say to that is to encourage the parents. Those parents of those homeschoolers went to bat. They went to the school board meetings. No, they are not involved in the public school process, but I tell you what, they were at the very forefront, raising the flag, raising awareness, and fighting for the education of the public school system to keep these documents in there. And, it really, it has awakened another giant. It has exposed the light is exposing the darkness, and that's what we need to do. And I'm grateful, Tyrus, for your exposure of what is happening in Onslow County. I'm grateful for Turning Point USA exposing the truth in New Bern and Craven County. And what we need to keep doing is keep pushing that button and keep forcing the truth, because it will come out. And I always say, in my faith, and this show is all about God, country, and family, God always wins. And these victims of these assaults, they are going to be taken care of. So on that note, Navy veteran, problem solver, NC State NBA candidate, man, you have a long and phenomenal resume. And founder of North Carolina Spectator, I want to encourage each and every one of you, go check out Substack, where Tyrus Kemp writes the North Carolina Spectator. He wrote most recently an article on parental rights. Just another tool for you to get involved, to just be aware, have these tools in your back pocket. So if you are facing some of these things that are coming up in your school district, that you know how to combat this uphill battle, but know that you have a lot of major conservative voices on your side, whether you live in North Carolina, or you live in Florida, or you live up in California or the great state of Massachusetts. And I also wanted to end on this note, I have a phenomenal friend who is an educator, who served in the Rhode Island public school systems. And she was placed in teacher jail because she would not teach CRT. And I tell you what, she has many coming alongside of her to fight. And that is what it's going to take. And that is to raise the voices. So Tyrus, thank you. Any final words?
I would just say, remind everyone out there that in the Bible, God, said he had a remnant for Elijah. And it may not look through the culture, through what we see, that there's anyone out there that also supports what you support other than maybe your little circles. I would say that when you start to speak up and stand out, that there are people who will come out of the woodwork, who will message you out of the blue, who will call you up and say, thank you for saying that. I don't have the guts to, but thank you for saying that. And so just keep that in the back of your mind. There are people out there, there's so many people that want this to be said, but whether it's time or capability or just nerves, they just can't. And so if you can do that, I would ask that you please do that.
Yeah. Well, Tyrus Kemp, thank you so much for joining Common Sense America. We want to have you come back. We want updates on the school board meetings, knowing that you're going to be covering it with the North Carolina Spectator. And we look forward to all of the great things that are going to be coming down the pike for these amazing educators and these students. So thank you so much. And we look forward to having you back.
Thank you, Eden. Take care.
Thanks.